What's going on, Pizza Fam? Listen, before we get into the episode, I just wanted to make a quick shout out to Thrive POS. They've recently partnered with the podcast and they bring an exclusive offer for our listeners. Listen, Thrive POS is not just a POS system. It was built for operators just like us. It's fast, it's reliable, and most importantly, it helps us focus on what matters: our pizza, our people, and our profits. Check out the exclusive offer from Thrive POS at thrivepos.com/Pizza King, or just click the link in the description. Now let's get into the episode. I tell you, what's fun is being able to have my son with me, my oldest son, Tyrell TJ, with me at these shows and at these events, because he gets to develop a whole new respect and appreciation for the industry and for the business that he's literally grown up in his entire life. He's been in the pizza shop. He gets to see it from other perspectives, and now he's developing his own, taste and desire for it. He didn't, Thursday, we'll get to it, but I was able to judge the young pizza makers competition, and their ages 14 to 17. And he's excited, like, hey, I'll be 14 next year. I can, like, yes, of course, you absolutely can, come out and compete and make a pie and, start to build your own name and reputation in this business. What's going on, Pizza Fam? Welcome back to the Pizza King podcast. I'm your host, Tyrell Reed. This is a special episode. Normally we do take out tips on Friday, but since we missed Tuesday, which I'll get into, I wanted to give kind of a full episode here today and then get back to our normal schedule next week. But as you noticed, we did not drop an episode on Tuesday as we spent the week over at the Pizza Tomorrow Summit in Orlando, that is held alongside the Florida Restaurant Show. Very nice show, big show, 3 days, lots of suppliers, vendors, pizza makers from all over the world. Just a fantastic show. And this year was the first year that we just spent the full 3 days there. Normally I go for a day and get back, but I really wanted to take in the full experience and spend more time out on the show floor, just kicking it with our people, these events. And I was talking to one of my guys, Fernando, and he's like, man, these things are great because sometimes this is the only time we get to see some of our friends, especially, friends in the industry, friends that have businesses, running their companies and doing, they're busy too. So this becomes the opportunity for us to get together and to really just enjoy that time. So I love that. I want to give kind of just a recap of my 3 days at the show and, my takeaways from what I was able to, experience, the people I talked to on the show floor. Yeah. And just all the things that happened there. It was very exciting for me. Day one was super fun because it was really the most chill day. I did speak on day one and I gave a nice talk on leadership development. We had folks out there drawing those rhinos like we always do. And it was a really, really good session. I took TJ over with me so he could help out, do a little bit of recording, get a little work in. He was my cameraman for the day. But we were able to get up on stage. Big shout out and thank you to the folks over at Decisely for sponsoring our session, and Branson for giving just such a, warm introduction. For me, it's the first time I've ever been introduced before going on stage to speak, which was really cool. And, it's a surreal experience for me, but it was a great session. We talked team building, we talked leadership development, the same things we always talk about here: mindset, routine, and communication. How do we take these folks from being babysitters and clipboard holders to, really being really being leaders and taking ownership of the role? So a lot of good feedback from that session. And it's always cool when people, they have those takeaways and then they share with me. They say, hey, look, I really appreciate that session. I love what you said about giving people the opportunities. I love that, you share your mistakes, and, that's what I'm all about. I'm here to share the wins, the losses, the lessons, and all of the things that we've learned to this point, to help somebody else get to the next levels. That's what it's all about, what it becomes. I'm happy to have done it. Big thanks to, just the whole team over there for allowing me now for the third year in a row to come out and speak. I just really appreciate their support of what we're doing. And that means a lot to me. Also got a chance to sit down with my boy and my mentor in podcasting, and really just a great friend in pizza, Bruce Irving from Smart Pizza Marketing. I've been on that show, a few times, I think, maybe 4 or 5 times now. And, we got to sit down and have a conversation. It's funny because, we kind of started talking about podcasting, and he's like, are you emailing guests to come on? I'm like, no, not really. He was like, well, why not? Why are you not? You got to send emails. You got to do it. I said, man, I really don't, I really don't want anybody to tell me no, to be honest with you. He goes, are you serious? I'm like, dude, I'm still like learning my way around this thing, and I'm making friends, and we're building out our network, but I don't know, it's still for me, it's still a little bit weird to reach out to people I don't know. That he goes, T, I just saw you on stage in front of a crowd, like a real crowd. And you didn't, he goes, you're not nervous. Like, no, I'm not nervous there, but I don't want to, but he goes, but you can't send an email. He's like, man, get out of your own way, bro. Send email. So with that being said, expect your inboxes to be flooded with invitations from me to come and join me on the podcast. That's kind of next step. I'm gonna make that leap and send out some invites to get you folks to come onto the podcast and tell your stories, talk about your shops, talk about your leadership, development, and what you're doing to go to the next level. So, normally I kind of wait until I met you in person, or, we had a conversation, or somebody kind of makes a connection, and then we do it from that point. But hey, I guess I'm cold calling inboxes to get folks to come on the show. And it's okay if you tell me no. I did, I kind of made that joke with him. Like, I don't want anybody to tell me no, but I also understand, folks have their own things going on. Some people don't want to be on camera, and they don't want to, share their stories, and that's totally okay. But if you are interested, and I hit you up, let's schedule some time and let's get on the show. If you've been thinking about it and you're like, if you were waiting on me to hit you up, just send me a message and say, hey, T, I'll come on the show. Let me do it. So let's find a way to make it happen, because I do need to have more conversations, bring more people on. And, the best way to do it is to stay connected. We also spend a lot of time just on the show floor, having pizza. I love hanging out, as you all know, just from previous shows. I love to hang out around the competition area, because, that's where the pizza guys are. And that's where you have the opportunity to catch some of the best pizzas in the game. When we hit the show floor, we saw Fernando, OG Papa Fern, up making his pizza, the Fugazzetta. And, if you know how it goes, they make their pies, they give, the allotted slices to the judges, and then whatever's left over, they kind of divvy out for the crowd to come and share. And I'm like hanging out around the table, like I'm gonna make sure I get some of that pizza from Fernando, and started talking, turned my back, and by the time I turned around again, it was gone. And it happened like 3 times. I didn't get a chance to try Uncle Rico's pie. I didn't get a chance to try Fernando. So that was like, oh man. Nonetheless, there was a lot of great pizza there, a lot of great pizza on the floor. A lot of the vendors are making pizzas at their booths too, especially if they're an oven company, or like Margarita, they're pepperoni, or, meat company. So there's stuff around. There's a lot of pizza. There's tons of pizza at the Galbani booth. So, there was no shortage of pizza, anywhere there. So let's see, what else did we do on day one? Ran into Charlie from a PMQ Pizza, my guy, Charlie Pogacar. So as soon as he was coming in, we were kind of all coming in together, and it's like, just, man, there's my guy. Wanted to get a chance to sit down with him. We didn't hang out in the booth and talk a little bit. I didn't get a chance to record with Charlie, and we're going to make sure we make that happen again. But just great seeing him, because he introduced me to quite a few people just in, the little bit of time that we were able to spend. He was able to just make some connections for me. So, really appreciate, those relationships, and really just chatting with my boy over there. So spent a lot of time with him. And I tell you, what's fun is being able to have my son with me, my oldest son, Tyrell TJ, with me at these shows and at these events, because he gets to develop a whole new respect and appreciation for the industry and for the business that he's literally grown up in his entire life. He's been in the pizza shop. He gets to see it from other perspectives. And now he's developing his own, taste and desire for it. He didn't, Thursday we'll get to it, but I was able to judge the young pizza makers competition and their ages 14 to 17. And he's excited, like, hey, I'll be 14 next year. Maybe I can, like, yes, of course, you absolutely can, come out and compete and make a pie and, start to build your own name and reputation in this business. So I'm excited for that, for him. And I was glad that we were able to, to get there and do that. He took a picture, which is a story in itself, because my son does not take pictures and he does not let me take pictures of him ever. But he was so excited to take a picture with the man himself, Wilhelm Rodriguez from Papa's Pizza in Puerto Rico. Is now one of the best pizza makers in the entire world. And such a nice guy, such a just beautiful spirit. Always so, just so open and so, just ready to share and talk and connect with folks. And he took the time to just talk, and they were chatting about Puerto Rico, because my son, he spent time there. His grandparents are there, and they were talking about the coqui, the frogs in Puerto Rico, and the sound that they start to make at night. So they just connected over just love for PR. So, shout out to him, because they took a great picture, and it was just nice to see them make that connection without me. So that was a lot of fun. Day 2 was great. I guess that was really all that happened day 1. Day 2 was great because that was when I really got to get in there and become a judge. My first time judging a pizza competition. And that was wild. I've always gone to the shows, right? You see me. I always go to the shows. I always hang around the competition areas, because that's where the pizza guys are. And that's where you get a chance to try, what folks are doing to really elevate their pizza game. But this time, and I've always wondered, like, how in the world did those guys get that chair and that job to sit there and judge these guys and try all of these pizzas first, before anybody. And, shout out to my buddy, Vito from Bella Napoli down in Punta Gorda. Vito hit me up and said, hey, do you want to judge this year in Orlando? And I was like, yes. Sign me up. What do I got to do? He just kind of made it happen for me. I met Vito back in Atlanta earlier this year. Super great guy, doing just amazing things for pizza. And he reached out to me, just texted me and said, hey, look, you want to do it? And I really can't express enough how grateful I am for that opportunity, because he showed me love. He let me sit at the table, and you look around and you're at the table with other just powerhouse folks in the pizza game, judging the pizzas of the best pizza makers in the world. That is crazy. That's just crazy to me. So, like, talk about dream job. I'm there, and there's so many to count. We had to split us up because there was quite a few judges and quite a few, even more competitors. So they split us up in the shift. So I had the early shift on, day 2, and I got to see the first half of the competitors. Excellent pizzas. Every single pizza came out. I mean, just beautiful. It's so hard to judge there. And it's funny because I talked to Bruce, and I was talking to another good friend, David DeSantis. Like, dude, it's my first time. What do I do? He goes, look, don't come out, don't judge too high from the beginning, because here's what's going to happen. That first pizza is going to come out, and you're going to taste it, and it's going to be great. And you're going to say, oh my God, it's the best pizza I've ever had in my life. And then 2 pizzas later, the pizza's going to come out, and you're going to taste it, and you're going to be like, oh my God, no, this is the best pizza I ever had in my life. And it just continues to get better and better and better, because they're all just masters of their crafts. They're all just super fantastic pizza makers, and you have to pace yourself. You know what I mean? So give yourself a little bit of room to really, judge it objectively. So, taking that advice, I really appreciate it. And not to eat too much too fast, because there's a lot coming at you. So that was really fun. That was super fun. So after my judging shift was over at noon, then I was able to just kind of move around the show floor again, really spend a good amount of time with my guys from Todd's Curry Sauce in their booth. Elliot and Todd were there just doing some samples. And these guys have been like on a whirlwind tour. off of a whole open fire festival in Texas. And straight over here, they had Mel Shamiller there, who was what's the name? What's his page? I don't know. He's the pit master, the barbecue guy. Hold on, no, I can't do him like that. I gotta just tell you. I gotta tell you who Mel is. Mel Shamiller from Dark Side of the Grill. All right, so I got a chance to meet Mel from Dark Side of the Grill, and just awesome dude. They had a whole whirlwind going on. They're shooting a Netflix special, and they have just so many things popping for them, and it was just great to just meet a legend and have him shake my hand and say appreciate what you're doing. Shout out to those guys for facilitating that and making it happen. Elliot's been really good to me, with product and helping me to really just elevate our pizzas with Todd's curry sauce. And I'm hoping I'll always return the favor for him. You've heard, obviously you've heard, if you've been listening to the podcast, that we always try to run an ad and do a drop for Todd's curry sauce. They are very much family here. So, shout out to those guys, and don't forget to go hit them up and get you a little bit of that sauce. I promise you, you only got to taste it one time. That is their slogan, and it is the truth. It is the truth. So go hit up Todd, go hit up Elliot, try that curry sauce. It does work very well on pizza, regardless of what your intuition is telling you. It works very well on pizza. I do it with a buffalo chicken pizza, and it's just fire. It's just fire. Took off a little bit early on day 2 because I had to get back to Tampa, take Tyrell over to the church, but that didn't stop me from just being ready and prepared to go back in day 3. I was actually on day 2, I was trying hard to figure out a time with OG Papa Fern to get a podcast recorded. So we started texting back and forth. He had some running around to do. He's got family in Orlando too. We figured out a time. We got it set up for Thursday morning. So got over there early. We got our recording done. And listen, let me tell you something, getting outside of this space right here is always gives me a little bit of anxiety, because I'm so comfortable recording in this space, in my office, in front of this camera, in this chair. Having, being able to go outside of this is scary for me, because things can go wrong. And without fail, the first time we tried it, we did it with Louis over in LA. Sound was terrible. Couldn't use it. Sat down with Fernando, got the camera set up. We got mics ready. Set up the recorder, everything. And 10 minutes in, batteries die on my Zoom recorder. Thank goodness we had backup microphones, the Rode mics, so we were able to quickly, switch to the new mics. And I was watching the recorder like the whole time, so I did catch it almost as soon as it died. So we didn't lose anything from the recording. Thank goodness. However, it's just nerve wracking when things don't just work, but it turned out great. So look for that episode coming very soon, with OG Papa Fern, Fernando Greco, and his story is just incredible. He is the ultimate, man of the people, man of the community, and, pushing Argentinian pizza forward. It was funny because he goes, man, we met a couple of years ago. I'm like, bro, we met here like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And he drew a rhino. He came to my session, and, always I do this rhino exercise. I'll post it or do something somewhere so folks can actually see how it goes. But, if you've been to any of my sessions, that I'm going to have you draw that rhino. But he did it, and I still have his because he gave it to me he signed it and gave it to me. So cool guy. And it's just funny to reconnect with somebody that he hit me up a couple of weeks ago. He goes, man, I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, we met. And then he starts scrolling. He goes, and I realized that we've been talking and texting. So we just reconnected and had a great conversation, really good podcast, and looking forward to that. So I had to wrap it up with him pretty quickly, because then it was on to judging the Young Pizza Makers competition. And like I alluded to earlier, this is the future of pizza. These are the up and coming pizza makers. A lot of them, coming up in their family shops. There was 3 competitors, all like 15, 16 years old. And when I tell you, it was honestly the highlight of the whole week, was to see the passion that these young folks have put into their craft and into their pizzas. And they weren't making, cheese pizzas. No, these young folks were creative. They created recipes. They created pies that had, in the winter, God bless her. She put pineapple on a pizza, which is, the ultimate sin, right? She did it though. She put pineapple on that pizza. She did a mango and pineapple sauce on it, and she won with that thing. So I'm so proud of the young pizza makers that showed up, because they really put that work in, and they came out and they represented themselves and their parents and their shops with so much class. I'm just so proud to have been, able to share that moment with those folks. And other than that, the whole week was really just about connecting with our folks, man. Shout out to, to everybody, to Uncle Rico, Mike Lamarck. I talked about David DeSantis, man, his buddy Andy, great guy. Just a lot of good folks. Oh, Commercial Kitchen Stop, Ryan, who's been on the show. His team was there, Chris and those guys from over there. Man, so many great people. And I hate to start naming names, because I'm always going to forget something or forget somebody. But the point is that this is about the relationships that we build and the people that we get to build it with. And I'm just so proud and so honored to be part of this community. So if you haven't been out to Pizza Tomorrow Summit, or you haven't been to the Florida Restaurant Show, they also do the California Restaurant Show with a PTS pavilion. Just great community, great place to be. We're always gonna do what we can to be a part of those. And, again, just thank everyone. Thank the team. That's all we got for this week. Quick recap on the show. We're back to our regular schedule on Tuesday. If there's anything I can do for you, don't be afraid to hit me up. And also hit me up to come on the show. If you're a pizza maker, come on the show and let's make it happen. But that's all we got for this week. I'm Tyrell, Pizza King Podcast. We are out of here. Peace. If you've gotten any value out of this episode or any of our other episodes, I need you to do me a favor. Go leave us a review. Every review on Apple, every 5-star rating on Spotify helps this show find more operators just like you, and helps them get that same value that you're taking away from this episode. And as a thank you, anytime somebody leaves a review, sends me a screenshot, just DM me a screenshot of your review, I'm going to send you a free gift, something awesome, something cool. I'll send you a gift, whoever leaves a review. That's the challenge. Go leave a review, DM me a screenshot of it, and then I'll get you something. I got you something special from your boy. Now let's get back into the episode. Peace.